everybody, what's going on, man? I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the differences between LifePo4, lithium polymer, lead acid, etc., etc. So anyways, one of our biggest misconceptions of batteries is charging, let alone voltages, let alone running in parallel in series. So I get a lot of questions and a lot of people talking to me about all these differences and what are the differences between 3S and 4S and 15S and 13S and 16S, and we've got the different chemistries of charging, and we've got lead acid, which we call a 12 volt, and then we have a 12 volt LifePo4 battery, we have a 12 volt lithium battery, but in reality none of them are 12 volt. Not a single battery pack or a battery cell that would be sitting here is 12 volt. Yes, we refer to the standard 12 volt sealed lead acid battery as a 12 volt battery, but in reality it's charged to 14.4 volts. When they're at 14.4 volts, 14.6 volts, they're at maximum charge. Now, not to get too far off the subject, lead acid batteries can also be trained to go up to as high as 16 volts, but in general they stay at 14.4 volts. LifePo4 battery cells, like these Headway 38120S cells right here, nominal voltage on these batteries is 3.2 volts. And in layman's terms, charge voltage per cell is 3.7 volts, but really it's 3.65 volts for these particular cells. And so if you run 4 of these cells in series, you come out with 14.6 volts, which is very close to a standard lead acid 12 volt battery, because at 14.6 volts versus 14.4 volts, you're only 0.2 of a volt difference between the two at full state of charge. Now let's come over to the lithium side of the battery, these little 18650s. Most lithium batteries or lithium polymer batteries or Lipo cells, their nominal voltage is 3.7 volts. Their charge voltage is 4.2 volts. So a lot of you guys ask, should I run 3S or should I run 4S? And we all have these different arguments and reasons as to why 3S or 4S. So depending on what your particular need is for your battery pack, that would determine in whether you went with a 3S or a 4S battery. If you want, like, say, around a 12 volt circuit, or if you wanted 12 volts of energy, 3 of these in series is going to run 12.6 volts, as where 4 of them in series are going to run 16.8 volts. So 4 of these in series are going to be higher in voltage than everything, and once again they need a special charger to charge them, whether they're at 3 in series or 4 in series, or we would say 4S, 3S, or 4S. So that's kind of what our discussion is about today. It's about all of these different battery chemistries, how to use them, how not to use them, safety features, danger features, all of the above. So let's start off with the LifePo4 batteries. To run a 12 volt system on a LifePo4 battery, and it doesn't matter whether it's a Headway battery or an 18650, LifePo4, a 26650, 21700, some of the Cal cells or the CALB cell, CLB cells. In general, individual cells are 3.2 volts nominal, fully charged 3.7 volts. So we're going to need 4 of those in a series to create a 12 volt battery pack. That's equivalent to this. Over here, no matter whether we go on a lithium battery or lithium polymer, it doesn't matter if we go 3 or 4 cells, we're not going to be close to either one of these. We're either going to be way below or way above. Okay, so that being said, the LifePo4 is the closest thing we're going to get to a standard 12 volt lead acid battery or an AGM gel battery. So going back to the LifePo4, fully charged 4 of these cells is going to come out to 14.6 volts. And that's because we have 4 battery cells fully charged at 3.65 volts is 14.6 volts. They're safe, they're simple, they're easy to use. Can you use a car charger or an alternator to charge these batteries? The right answer and the short answer, in a sense, would be no. Because those battery chargers float. They have a float that's different than what these batteries would require. Can it be done? Absolutely. I do it all the time. I do it for testing. But in general, you would use a special battery charger to charge any lithium battery. So the short answer is just straightforward No, you're going to need a different battery charger to charge these batteries than your lead acid battery. And we're going to talk about that, and that's kind of what the topic of this video also is. So here you're going to need a battery charger that's going to produce constant current, constant voltage at basically 14.6 volts and however many amps that is. So that's your constant current. So let's say you have an 8 amp or a 10 amp charger. You're going to be running a constant 8 or 10 amps at these batteries with a constant voltage of 14.6 volts. Now, you can float these once you get to 14.4 or 14.5. You can float them at a half of a volt or something until you went to 14.6. And that's normal with these kind of chargers when you're charging LifePo4 or even lithium. But when we're charging lead acid, or when we're charging LifePo4 and lithium batteries in general, we're always talking about constant current and constant voltage. Where we're dealing with a lead acid battery, we're talking about constant current, constant voltage impulses, as well as float charge. And we'll discuss that after, another time other than this particular video. A lot of you guys are asking about new batteries, used batteries, the price of batteries, etc. I want to tell you, there's a lot of guys selling used batteries. They're authentic, they're good cells. Are they right for you? My short answer to that is no, they're not. And the reason they're not good for you is because you're trying to spend money on a product that's going to last for many years, as the product's designed to do. However, a lot of these used batteries that you guys are buying, unfortunately, they've been used and used and used, and they've been charged and they've been abused. And so there are some good cells out there. Like a lot of you guys are out doing, laptop batteries and power pack batteries and all sorts of different batteries that are out there that are good batteries. However, most of those batteries aren't brand new. Like they say, these came out of a brand new pack, so we've got brand new cells, and they're at 80% capacity. All right, the reality is we don't know as a consumer how many times that particular battery pack or battery cell has been charged. Not only do we not know how many times it's been charged, we don't know how many times it's been discharged, and we don't know how far it's been discharged, or we do not know at what level its depth of discharge was. If those battery packs had 4 of these batteries in it, and they were only 1 year old, but whoever used them, every single time they used those batteries, went from 100% state of charge to 100% state of discharge, which in this case with this battery is 2 volts, then they're cutting the lifespan of that battery at more than half. So even though the battery is a year old and supposed to be good for 20 or 25 years, the way they used the battery destroyed it and cut that power in half. Yes, the battery will still charged at 3.65 volts, but will it hold that charge? And if it will, for how long? So that's the question, and that's the thing with all batteries. It doesn't matter what type of battery it is. It doesn't matter if it's lead acid, LifePo4, or lithium polymer batteries. It's the same rule for all batteries. If you go to these prospective batteries websites, look at the data sheets on these products, you will see that all batteries, and if you go to batteryuniversity.com, you'll see that all of these batteries are talking about depth of discharge and ratings. Most of them always talk at 80% depth of discharge. So 2,000 life cycles on LifePo4, 800 life cycles on lithium polymer. That's provided that you're only discharging to 80%. Now, if you take this lead acid battery, you charge it to 14.4 volts and you drain it to 10 volts, you just took the life expectancy of this battery and cut it in half. If you do that one single time, this battery, if it was good for 400 charges, or let's say 200 charges, it's now only good for 100 charges. Now, if any of you guys have got a lithium battery for, say, a flashlight or a vape or whatever you're using it for, anything that you're using a rechargeable lithium battery for, and you notice over time they go bad, you have to throw them out. And that's because you are continuously discharging them to such a low state, and this battery, say 2.5 volts, that it damages the battery over time. So you're not going to get the 800 charge cycles out of this battery if you take it to 0 every time. However, if you take it to 0 on the first time or the 5th time or the 20th time, you're not cutting the battery's life expectancy in half, but you are definitely lowering the life expectancy of said lithium battery. If you do it constantly, all the time, and go from a full state of charge to 100% depth of discharge or 100% dead, 2 volts, 2.5 volts. If you do that all the time, yes, you're cutting these batteries' life expectancy, to 75% to 50% of their life expectancy, and so on. So are used batteries a good deal? If you know exactly what you're getting, you know exactly where they're from and how they were used, then it could be. But none of us know that. So used batteries, they're okay. And if you've got a lot of them and you've got a lot of, let's say, solar power, if you're using these for a power wall, then you might be all right if you're not running a lot of energy at night. But for some of us that require a lot of energy in the hours where there is no sun or wind, then we need good cells. And you can charge them all to 4.2 volts. This one here I can charge to 4. Well, these are brand new, but let's say one was used and one was new. I can get them all to charge to 4.2 volts. But this one might last in my flashlight for 5 hours, where this one, if it's used, might only last for 30 minutes, but they all went to 4.2 volts. So anyways, there are a couple of guys selling used batteries, and I know some of these guys through their businesses and their websites, and I've done some business with them. I don't know them personally, but I know of them, and I've done business with some of them and bought some of their products and tested them. And from what I've purchased so far on used products for them, and strictly for testing, I don't use them in any of my products. I just get them for testing, and I can tell you that what they advertise is pretty true. They're pretty spot on about their advertising, about the capacity or the rating of said battery. But the one thing that they don't tell you, or that you don't know, or that isn't explained, is how long said capacity is going to last. So there is such a thing as a weak cell, and so several of those cells are weak cells. Even though they test it out okay, in the real world, even though we can charge a battery up to its charge voltage, doesn't mean it's going to hold it there, or as it's being depleted, it's going to be as strong as a new battery. So that being said, buyer beware when you're buying used batteries. Yes, of course, I sell batteries, and yes, of course, that's kind of why I'm doing this video, because I want you guys to know that when you're buying used to new in batteries, there is no comparison at all. There's no such thing as 100% usable capacity in a used battery. It doesn't exist. And even though you're saving a few dollars buying the used battery, at the end of the day, you're actually spending twice as much money, because that used battery just is not going to last as long as the new battery is, for longevity, for the 10 or the 20 or the 30 years that it's expected to last. And as far as that goes, I don't think any of them are going to last that long in reality. I do know that the LifePo4 batteries are exceptionally decent to their rating as far as longevity and shelf life is concerned. But at the end of the day, if you're doing something bigger, you're spending a lot of money, you're building an e-bike battery, you're building an EV battery for your automobile, your car, your boat, your scooter, a power wall for your house, your cabin, your shop, your van, your RV, I'm going to suggest that if you're going to be getting into lithium batteries or LifePo4, that you know what's going on with them and that you buy them new. And the reason you want to buy them new is just so you have a new battery and you know you have a new battery. And so that being said, you can still buy a new battery, all right? It can be a brand new battery cell. But if it's sat on a shelf for 4 years, it's no longer a new battery cell, because batteries don't live that way. And voltage drops over time. And there's chemicals and chemistry inside these batteries, and it doesn't last forever uncharged or sitting in an uncharged state. So even though a battery is brand new, it doesn't mean that it's brand new, because it could have been sitting for a long time. And we can go on and talk about this stuff for many hours at a time, in which we are. This is like my first or maybe my second video in a series of videos that I'm going to be doing about these different batteries, their chemistries, their charge capacities, and how they work. And I'm going to be doing that for a reason, so I can educate you, the consumer, and the person, and the tester, and the maker, to understand them a little bit better, because I've used them for a lot of years and I kind of get them now. And for instance, when you buy a new battery, this is a brand new battery, okay? However, this battery here, this headway cell, is a 38120S cell, and it's one of the batteries that I buy in bulk. And it is a brand new battery. However, this particular battery was built January 26th of 2018. It says so right here on the battery. So any headway battery's got a date on it, and that's exactly what it is. The year, then it's got the year, the month, then the day. That's just how they do it in Europe and China. So That's what that number is. That's just telling you when the battery was made. So yes, this is still considered new because of its age, and but it's not made yesterday. Same thing with these batteries here. These batteries here that I'm holding in my hand, particularly, these are about 2 months old, and we buy these by the thousands. So even though your battery says it's new, or even though people say they're new, that doesn't always mean that they are new. So when you are buying batteries, especially if you're buying in bulk, make sure to ask, hey, do you know when these were made? Or have these been sitting on a shelf for 2 or 3 or 4 years or 5 years in a warehouse? Very important things to know. Okay, so anyways, that being said, once again, back to the charging aspect of the batteries, we have 3 separate cells up here. And this being, of course, one battery pack, or one battery at 12 volt or 14.4 volts. All 3 of these batteries take a different battery charger. It doesn't matter if you go 3S here or you go 4S here. They all take a different battery charger. Now, we've kind of simplified this for you guys. Over at my website at westthattechguy.com, you can buy these cells, the lithium iron phosphate LifePo4 cells, and you can buy the Lipo cells, the lithium polymer cells, 18650s, 26650s, 38120s, 38120 HPs, and all the chargers to go along with those. So if you want to do an e-bike battery build, or you want to do an EV build, you can come over here, you can get the charger, the BMS, the battery cells, all the parts and hardware you're going to need to put your packs together. And if you're going to build a power wall, same thing. We also sell full-on battery packs pre-built, so you don't have to mess with them. You can just buy them and be done with it. Are we the cheapest guys in town? Absolutely not. Are we the most expensive guys in town? Absolutely not. However, probably about in the middle of the road. We warranty our stuff. We have good quality, guaranteed authentic products. And they're just not that cheap for us to get into the States and then to resell them, and then all the other things that are involved with dealing with batteries. So, but one thing that we do have above and beyond a lot of our competition is we have quality cells. Like I just said, we have new cells. We have good cells. We have name brand cells. We have cells that we know are authentic. We're not getting cells from a third-party supplier or fourth-party supplier. We're buying our cells directly from the manufacturer, so we know that they're legitimate. We don't even have to worry about that. And because we buy the brands that we buy, and only the brands that we buy, we know that when we sell a battery that you're going to get a good sell. So when you're talking lithium batteries, the first thing that everybody should be telling everybody in the lithium battery world, and power walls and e-bikes and whatnot, any of you that have any experience, you already understand these are not cheap. E-bike batteries are not cheap, EV batteries for your automobiles are not cheap, and the cells themselves are not cheap. And you need a lot of them if you're building a pack of any sort or any type. So, you have to prepare for that when you get into lithium compared to lead acid. But you have 3 times the charge capacity in this battery and these 4 cells than you do this one battery, because you can discharge to a much farther state and still keep the battery safe and in good place. Hey guys, we'll talk about more stuff like this in this line of videos. And I just don't want to get running too long or ramble too hard. I hope I answered a lot of your guys' questions with this video, and we'll do our best to edit and put it together in the right way so it comes out the right way. Anyways, man, as usual, you guys be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Check out my website over at westthattechguy.com, and I'll see you on the next one, man. Take it easy.